Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I've had to start this video like 4 times already because I keep running too long. All right, Patrick Warren Sr. All right, Killeen, 50-year-old African-American man having a mental health crisis. And it would seem from everything I could discern, it hasn't been a lifelong struggle from what I can discern. It's more 2020 related with the coronavirus and everything going on. But that's what it seems like. Now, the Saturday before last Sunday, his family called because he was having depression outbursts, a mental health crisis. A mental health worker showed up Saturday, calmed him down. Everything was okay. Now, here's an important thing. Let me just tell you guys, I was locked down in these mental health wards 14 times during my last 20 years of life, back when I was using. In these mental health units in the hospital, there's people with mental health problems, there's people with drug addiction problems, and then there's dual diagnosis, and that's what I was, dual diagnosis, because I had reached the suicidal level. Now, if you are discerned to be a danger to yourself or anybody else, you're put on paper for 72 hours. You're locked down. Mandatory. You don't have a choice. Okay, now I say that because Patrick Warren Sr. wasn't judged to even be a danger to himself or anybody else that Saturday. Okay, so in my world, in my whole experience, it's a relatively low-level crisis. Because me and everybody around me back when I was using was locked down, mostly with suicidal issues. Okay, and you know what? Patrick Warren Sr. might actually be alive today if he was locked down, so he wouldn't have to deal with the police officer who came to his house Sunday. Now, his family had to call again Sunday because Patrick Warren Sr. again was having a mental health breakdown, a mental health crisis. And instead of a mental health worker coming out again like he did just the day before, they sent a policeman for whatever reason. This policeman, according to the family, was aggressive right from the beginning. Okay. And he comes in the house. I'll leave the links down below so I don't have to get into the whole descriptive story, but he's pretty much asked to leave. He's not being helpful, and that's not what they even called for. The family didn't call for the police, called 911 for a mental health crisis worker. And it worked the day before. So the officer leaves, and you'll see this on the video. And Patrick Warren Sr. follows him out, and he's obviously irate. I know I've been there. And he's using his hands like I do, just like I do. But there's no weapons. He's not aggressively going after the policeman. He's following him out, complaining, because he's upset. Understandable. Now, they go out of sight. You hear the family say that you hear the taser go off. Apparently, Patrick Warren Sr. gets back up, and you hear 3 or 4 shots. And Patrick Warren Sr. is fatally shot. This just happened last Sunday. Look, I'm not calling for the police to be disbanded. And no police, I'm not a radical leftist, as Donald Trump and all those people try to paint it. We all want to get rid of the police and just have mass rioting and giveaways and loot all the rich people. No. But there's obviously a problem here. This officer was ill-equipped to deal with this situation without a doubt. And it's not even who the family asked for when they called 911. This problem, too, I think goes to the center where that call went, the 911 call. I can't start judging that, or I don't know if there was a lack of mental health workers, and if in that case they send a police officer, if it's an emergency, I don't know. I can't make judgments on that. But this is a problem here. I've been in lockdown wards 14 times in my life. Okay? During my addiction, about every 3 months, it would get to the point where I could not deal with this just daily 24-hour cycle, or 12, 14, 18, 24-hour cycle of getting sick, seeking the drugs, buying the drugs, getting sick. You can't do it anymore, and you become suicidal. And I was locked down at least 14 times that I can count. I was on the same ward as people just like Patrick Warren Sr. I've seen nurses, all of maybe 4'11", calm down people like Patrick Warren without having to use their service revolver. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make a joke of this, but in this case, we're using we're addressing this problem the wrong way, obviously, by sending a police officer there. And I don't think from reading it right, the police officer didn't even know what the call was that he was showing up at. He shows up, he's not helping, he's aggressive, and he basically made the problem much worse. He made Patrick Warren Sr. more upset. You know, when you're in that condition and somebody confronts you aggressively, it's not going to help. And you see that with Patrick Warren Sr. If you look at these videos, he comes out and he's just like me. He's talking with his hands. And he ends up losing his life. Now, here's another troubling thing. As I went to do this story today, I Google Texas man shot by police. And more than one story from October pops up too, 2020. Jonathan Price, shot at a gas station, tased and then shot by an officer, a Texas officer at a gas station just 2-3 months earlier. And then there was another one before that. There's obviously a problem here. It's become it's basically fatal. It's sometimes fatal to be an African American man in Texas, apparently. And if you are an African American man in Texas, you got to be very quiet, keep your head down, and do whatever the officers say, and you might make it through. You might live to your senior years. This is a problem, guys. I don't mean to make light of this, but the thing is here, I become familiar with people with mental health problems, and they might seem scary to somebody that's not associated with it. Let me tell you, I was talking to a girl sitting, between meetings, watching TV in the rec room, and she was happy. We're talking, and all of a sudden she just starts crying out of nowhere. And later I learned she has bipolar disorder, and I learned about that through this. And you'll learn how to deal with these people. And I'm not even a mental health professional by any means. But if you're not at all accustomed or to dealing with anybody, with mental health issues. Now, apparently this officer, just to clear things up too, if anybody has any questions, I don't know if this was race related. Once again, it's an African American man being shot. I don't know. I think it was a Hispanic officer. I'm not sure. I don't want to make judgments. I think the problem here too is access to mental health care. It's not easy to get mental health care. That's one of the reasons that I was specific that I was suicidal, because it would guarantee me to get help. If I didn't say that, more than likely, they would hold me for 4 hours or so and then send me home, where I would just go back out and call my dealer. And good chance I would have ended up taking my own life. There's a health crisis. There's a mental health crisis in this country, without a doubt. I'm not saying to defund the police, but we need to diverse the police, to take this off their plate. It'll give them more time and energy to deal with real serious calls. We're dealing with people with violence, robbery, sexual crimes, whatnot. The important stuff over here. And let mental health crisis workers deal with the addiction issues and the mental health crisis issues, because obviously, unless we're going to take the time to have these officers go through mental health training and crisis training. But I think, for my opinion, and like I said, I have some experience with this, being around a lot of people with mental health issues, and it'd be best if we could just diversify and take this off the officer's plate. When we say defund the police, I think that's what we're trying to say here, is take some of this, the job description, unnecessary job description, off the police officer's plate. and give it to somebody who has more focused knowledge and training in that area. And it might hopefully lead to less African American men being shot, especially in Texas. I don't mean to joke, but it's a real problem. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Saturday.